Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is the 21st of June, and I'm here to talk to you about my first stitching of the day. This morning, I wanted to start off right, and I did my bingo stitching, which was for an acrostic whip, something that I had put in an acrostic, any one of them. And so since I'm going to be concentrating on Christmas next month, I decided to pull out a whip that wasn't Christmas so I could put more stitches in it while I have time in the month of June. And I pulled out Neighborhood Friends. And I needed to put 100 stitches in. And so I decided to do the other bench under the tree. And that bench is 146 stitches total. So that was plenty. And now it's balanced. So next time I pick it up, I can either go up here and finish the top, or I can work, more across the bottom. I'm saving the puppy dogs to last because I think they're going to be so much fun. But anyway, this is it, and that's my stitching for my bingo call for the day. Now, all my acrostics are finished, and my monthly requirements are all completed for the year. This is amazing. So I now have the opportunity to decide, do I want to just let that be it, or would I like to have a new set of requirements that I would like to work on every month, because that process just works so well for me. So I guess you can figure out, I decided to do that. And I went through my little cards that I make out on all of my whips that I have. Hey, Coco. And I looked them up. And so my oldest whips are Autumn in the Village, Let Love Rain, December Quilt, and Spring Quaker. Now, they're my oldest whips, but they're still within 2022 to 2024, I think. And so I have decided that I'm going to skip monthly requirements for July that were normal. My monthly requirements for July are going to be to do the Christmas in July stitching, to do my Great British Bake Off stitching, and my bingo stitching. Those are my requirements for the month, plus my stocking for the month. So that'll be enough for the month of July. But starting in August, I'm going to go back to doing 500 stitches on pieces that I want to push closer to finishes. And so I will put 500 stitches in each of those projects that I named. And that they will become the first 4 of my monthly requirements. And my 5th one will be the stocking of the month that I want to start. So now bye, Coco. So now I'm getting ready to leave the house for a few minutes. My friend Donna moved recently, and today she is busy trying to unpack her garage to the point where she can put her car in it. And I told her I could come over and help her at least unbox things, and then she could, decide where she wants to put them, or I can open boxes and she can see what's in them, and then she can decide what room to put them in, and we can at least disperse a lot of that storage boxes and get the garage organized and to a point where she can get her car in the garage and she'll feel like she's made a world of difference. And so I'm going to go do that. I had a friend coming to stitch today, and unfortunately, due to a family medical emergency, she is going to have to postpone. And so, Melody, I'm praying for your family, and I won't give any details on that. I just want you to know I'm praying for y'all. And I'm going to go help Donna since I don't have company coming. I'm up here to film this really quick and to pick up some cross stitch, because if we get this done before it's too late in the afternoon, we could take a break and do some stitching together. So I'll, always take cross stitch. So I'll have it in the car in case I need it, but I've got to decide what I want to take with me. So my thoughts were to look at my British Bake Off for the month. Not for the month, for the week. Since it's now Saturday, and I've already stitched 2 of them for this week, and the 2 that are left are Summer by the Sea and Dressmaker's Daughter. And both of those are on roller frames, and they're both large. So I won't be taking those with me. So I'll just pick up another one of those non-Christmas projects that I just want to put more stitching into. And I'll take one of those with me. And then maybe this evening I can knock out one of the others for British Bake Off. We'll see. Anyway, I hope you have a great Saturday. I certainly will. And I hope that I'll have some stitching to share with you later tonight. But if not, I'll talk with you soon. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Coco and I are here up in my craft room. I just grabbed a quick video of her running up here, smelling in my bags and looking in all the baskets and things because she's wondering if I've got a snack hidden for her up here, which I don't. But anytime when I've stitched somewhere else, and yesterday I stitched over at my friend Donna's house, when my bags come back in and they smell like, you know, in this case, like Harley, she has to check everything out. She has to make sure there's nothing in here. Anyway, she's here at my feet. So I wanted to show you the stitching I did for my bingo stitching today, which today's call for me was an acrostic whip. And so I looked to see not only what did I have that I had used on an acrostic, but that was also part of my British Bake Off stitching. So I'll pull my British Bake Off list over here. And looking at what occurred on episode 4 for this week, the one I needed to continue stitching on would be either Summer by the Sea or Dressmaker's Daughter, and I chose to do Summer by the Sea. And you can see here, I did 155 stitches on it this morning. So I've now met both my bingo call with this one and my British Bake Off. And so all that's left for British Bake Off now is Dressmaker's Daughter. But I'll remind you, this is what Summer by the Sea looks like. I think those colors are absolutely beautiful. Just beautiful. And what I worked on today were the 2 flowers. I had, when you saw it last, all this greenery done. So I did 2 colors of the pink on that flower and 1 color of the pink on that flower. And that was 155 stitches all total. So I am going to put it away because I either will pull out Dressmaker's Daughter today and work on it to finish my British Bake Off stitching, or I'm going to pull out one of my other pieces that I won't get to touch next month. My friend Donna and I were talking about it yesterday, and I said, you know, I've finished all the acrostics. The only thing I have dictating a stitch each day right now is bingo, and that'll be finished on the 25th. I will be out of town for a few days at a finishing retreat, so those days will probably be tied up with classes, and I won't be stitching on those days until the evening. So I think right now what I have time to do is just put extra stitches in projects that I won't get to touch next month because I'll be doing Christmas in July. So that's my plan. So I will either, as I said, pick up Dressmaker's Daughter next and finish that British Bake Off stitching, or I will pick up something else that I want to put stitches in, and I will go ahead and get some of those stitches done since I just finished one of the British Bake Off stitches today. Well, I hope you're having a great Sunday. I hope everything is pleasant where you are as far as the weather. Ours is very hot, and up here it actually feels like to me that my air isn't working. I have to get my husband to check on that. The thermostat says 80 is what it's set on, but it's 94 degrees up here. It's very warm, hence the fan, which I can't even turn off to video. It's stifling up here. So I'm gonna have to have him look at that when he gets back. And in the meantime, if I have to, I'll go downstairs and stitch where it's nice and cool. But have a great start to your week. Tomorrow for me is going to be a lovely conversation with a new friend, Cavell, and then I have a Zoom call tomorrow night with some of my stitching friends. So I have a great day planned for tomorrow. I hope you do. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is in the afternoon on June 23rd. And today, before I start my bingo stitching, I wanted to just work on something that I wanted to put stitches into. And so I did. I pulled out my Let Love Rain. I wanted to bring the border down on both sides enough that I felt like I could roll it up just a little bit to start working down here. So I've got it finished down to here on both sides. So I think I'm going to roll it up a little bit now that I've shown it to you. And I'll have it set and ready to go for when I start stitching on it again. Anyway, my call on bingo today is for a whip go call. And the whip go call that I have decided to stitch on is my spring bag, which is a recent new start. And I need to put 100 stitches in that, so I will. And then the next thing I have left to do is going to be working on my episode 4 from my Great British Bake Off. And that requires me to do Dressmaker's Daughter, and I need to do 225 stitches in it in order to meet the two things that I'm doing it for. One is for the fact that it was Sora was sent home, and 2, there was no handshake. So I added in those 150 stitches to the 75 stitches for being sent home, which totals 225 stitches that I want to put in my Dressmaker's Daughter. So I would love to get that done today if I can. So that is the news so far today. My air conditioner in this room is officially dead, and it is a unit that services the upstairs. And so my husband has a repairman coming to look at either repairing or replacing it, but they can't get here till Wednesday. So I may be able to come up like I'm doing now and spend a few minutes up here recording, but I have a Zoom call tonight, and I have a Zoom call tomorrow afternoon, and I have a Zoom call tomorrow night. And so I don't know what I'm going to do, because I normally Zoom up here because my computer's up here. This morning I had a call with a friend, and we had to use our telephones, and I had a hard time finding a place to sit my phone to where I could see them and they could see me while I was stitching. I kept moving out of frame without realizing it because I was working on this Let Love Rain, and I was doing some of the stitching over on this side and some of the stitching on this side. But when I would lean way over to do this side, that's when I noticed I'd go out of the picture on my phone. I don't know how it looked on her side, but we were both stitching, so I don't think it mattered that much. But we'll get it set up. But I'll do something for tonight because I don't want to miss my friends on my Zoom call at all. Anyway, thanks for letting me share my stitching with you so far today, and I hope that I'll have some more to share with you this evening. And in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It is later on the 23rd of June, and I am here to talk to you about my stitching for my bingo today. My bingo call today was for number 23, which for me was a whip go call, and the whip go call that I chose to use for that bingo challenge was my spring bag. This was a new start that I started for whip go in the month of June, and I put in more than 100 stitches. I don't have my book with me right in front of me. It's downstairs because I'm up here where the heat is stifling. The air is out and has been for a couple of days now. Will be till Wednesday, so I'll be up here very briefly just to record things. I may even try to find a spot to do that downstairs in the air. But anyway, this is my spring bag. And what I did was a little over 100 stitches, 120 something, I think. And I did these 2 little sheep on the spring bag. So I got those 2 sheep in, and realized that one of the colors I needed, a lighter pink for the flowers, apparently was not pulled. This was kitted for me, at the Silver Needle, one I bought it. The lady ran and got the threads for me, and she missed one. So I know she didn't do that on purpose. Anyway, she would never do that on purpose. But the bottom line is I need it. And so I'm going shopping, hopefully, in Little Rock at Shepherd's Needle in a few days. And so I've started a list of things that I might want to pick up. And so that is on my list, to get that pearl cotton that I need for my spring bag. So then I decided, I was on a Zoom call this evening, and I decided to pull something that would be easy enough to stitch on a Zoom call. And I pulled out my Ode to a Good Dog because I needed to do more of the lettering. I had the first 2 lines done, and tonight I did the entire 3rd line. It was about 280 stitches, 280 something. But that line says, render praises and favor. So I thought that was really sweet. Now I only have a couple of flowers right here to do, and I will have completed that whole row across, that whole section. And I believe it would be approximately 4 pages, something like that. They're like big pages and then small page. So anyway, I'm almost ready to go down to the next section of the border, which will be great. I was trying to put extra stitches in these pieces that I'm not sure I'll get to touch next month because of my focus on Christmas. So that was very important for me to do that. So my bingo call for tomorrow is to stitch on something that's a monthly requirement. And for me, that is going to be Let Love Rain. I will pull that out and put a few more stitches in that. And then that means our final number is going to be, for the 25th, is going to be a May Monday start whip. And for me, that is going to be Dressmaker's Daughter. So I'll get to pull that out and put some stitches in it, which I had planned on doing for my British Bake Off anyway. So there you have it. So that's it for today. It's too hot to say anymore. It's very warm up here. It's close to 90 degrees up here, so I'm not going to stay long. I am simply going to drop off my stitching. I'm going to do a little quick stitching sew up project for my husband that he wants me to put a little seam in something. I'll get that done really quick, and then I'm headed back downstairs. So until we get a chance to talk again, happy stitching, everybody, and I hope you're in a cool environment. Good night. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Dina. It is the 24th of June, and I'm here to tell you about my stitching this morning. I had a wonderful morning. I was able to chat with my sister Stephanie some this morning, and in the meantime, I've been working on my Mirabilia Dressmaker's Daughter. This is for 2 things. It's for my bingo call for today, which is for a whip go call, and it's also for my British Bake Off. So this will wrap up my British Bake Off stitching. And I had to do 225 stitches, and I did 261. So I'm really pleased about that. Got that taken care of. And I'll show you what part I worked on this time. So I went to the space that had the least amount of stitches on it. And this is winter spring. So this is the spring piece. And you can see I put in a lot of the Karen water lily flowers here. And now I'm filling in the background. That's what I was doing while I was on the phone, just doing that background stitching. There are beads that go in here, but I don't think I'm gonna bead as I go along. I like to bead at the end, but that way I don't have beads wrapped up in my roller frame, even with padding or anything, for very long. So it's just the way I like to do it. But I got 261 stitches in there today. So I have met all the requirements that I was using it for, and I can put it away now. I have an errand to run, and when I get back this afternoon, I have another Zoom call, and this is with my friend Marissa. I can't wait to catch up with Marissa. We haven't had a really good chat in a while. She's been busy working, and I've been traveling, and so we are going to sit and talk and stitch together this afternoon. So I want to go get my errand done so that I can take care of that right away and be back in time to be comfortably sitting downstairs in front of my husband's laptop. He put the Zoom on that for me, so I can use it for these few days that I have no air up here. You see the fan is on again. I just ran up here to film and to grab my stitching to take back down with me, and then I'll be out of here. So I may have more to share with you later. I don't know. I have a planning Zoom call this evening, so it's been a great day. I'm getting to talk to several people I want to talk to today, and I'm hoping that I can share with you a little bit after that if it's not too late. Anyway, in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. It is later on the 24th of June, and I'm here to tell you about the rest of my stitching today. I was able to stitch through 2 calls today. One was with my friend Marissa, and we were stitching and catching up and talking. And so today I pulled out my gift for my sister to stitch on while I was talking with Marissa. So Stephanie, I need you to look away again. I appreciate you doing that. So I'll remind everybody this is the gift that I'm working on for my sister Stephanie. And so this is where I got to today. I only put in 197 stitches today. Marissa and I didn't have that long to chat. We only had a little bit of time, just a couple hours. But I had found an error on this side over here in this little striped part. And so I had to pick out a little bit, recount, restitch, and get that corrected. And then I had to put in the sparkly. And then after I did that, I came down here and I started right here. And I did these 2 sections, one on each side, trying to keep it balanced as I go so that I'm taking it down equally on both sides. But that's where I got to today. So I did that during my call with Marissa. And then I had a Zoom call later this evening with some of my cross-stitch planning friends, Lori from Once Upon a Stitch and Dee Abrams. She's very active on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And my friend Donna. And we always talk at least once a month about what we're going to do the following month. And we talk about acrostics, what ideas we had. And this month was quite interesting because each of us are doing a form of either the July, Christmas in July, or Christmas and Patriotic in July. And we're all doing a form of stitching for the Tour de France. My friend Donna is going to be stitching Death by Cross Stitch for each of those days. All the stitches will match the kilometers that are ridden that day. I am doing my Christmas in July, so I'm just going to use whatever Christmas piece I'm working on that day. I'm going to make sure I do the number of stitches at least that have the kilometers for the Tour de France in it that day. And then we also talked about what other acrostics and things like that we were going to do and how would we fit that all together. And we talked about the Great British Bake Off game that we're in the middle of. We will start week 5 on Friday. And we all talked about it was hard to do back-to-back Great British Bake Off competitions for stitching because we have events that bookend that, and doing it this time of the year, it's really going to be hard to do Christmas in July and the Great British Bake Off and our acrostics, everything that we do. So I think we've made the decision that we're going to finish this one out, but next year I think we're only going to do one. We're going to do the first one in the year and not the second one. You can choose to do more than one, obviously, but we are going to do just one of them next year, and it will be the one earlier in the year. And we'll talk about that when it comes closer to time for that.
But during our planning session, we did stitch a little while as well, and I had pulled out something you hadn't seen in a little while. I mentioned I was going to try to put stitches in things that were non-Christmas that I had in my whip pile, and this peacock is one of them. So I pulled it out. This is what it will look like, hopefully, when it's finished. And I put in 280 stitches in this tonight, and it's this whole little section, this feather right here. Was almost like the arm of the bird swooping up, but that's what I got done tonight. And so that's my 280 stitches in it for this time, and I'm going to put it away again. I get to go stitching with my friend Juliana at her house tomorrow, and I haven't even decided what I'm going to take with me yet. I'm going to go up now and see if I can pull that together. But it's gotten down outside to about 84 degrees, so I'm hoping that my room upstairs that has no air conditioning is coming down with it. We'll see. But anyway, I need to put these up and decide what I'm going to take with me tomorrow and get that bag packed, get ready to go stitch with my friend Juliana. And so I'm excited about that. I hope you've had a good start to your week. We're halfway through tomorrow, and so that'll be an exciting thing. I am looking so forward to this weekend. My friend Donna and I are scheduled to go to Little Rock, Arkansas, and to Shepherd's Needle for the class that we've signed up for. It's a finishing class with Kathy Hopperman. So we're very much looking forward to that. The bonus in that is that my friend Donna is going to meet up with several stitchers that she used to see regularly when she lived in that area up where her parents are in Missouri. And they used to go to retreats together. And they've met at retreats, and they saw each other at retreats quite often. And then when she moved here to Georgia, she didn't get to go to those retreats as often. And so they met up last year at a retreat that we were at. And so we had a wonderful time. And they're going to be there. That's what I'm trying to say, at the class. And so Donna will get to meet up with her friends again, and I get to see them again. They've taken me under their wing, and so we will all have a great time together, and I'm so looking forward to that. So there you have it, my whole weekend coming up for you. I hope to get some stitching in, even though I'm going to be in a finishing class both days. Donna was asking me tonight, what stitching was I going to take? And one of them, I know one. One is I'm going to take a Kathy Hopperman piece that I'm working on, which is my Love to Stitch, which is the piece she did for the project bag. And so it's an easy one to stitch on. I'm going to take it with me. I'm excited about it. I'm going to work on it while I'm there, if I can, because I'll be with her. And that would be fun for me to get to do that. I don't know what else I'll take with me, but more than one thing, in case I want to do one each day or something. But I'll post it, I'll tell you all about it. You'll notice my background is a little different. Here's all of our games over here on these bookcases. We've got several sections over there with the board games. We love playing board games with friends or with our son when he comes to visit. Something we did with him from the time he was very young till he was a teenager, and a lot of wonderful nights around the table playing board games and cards and with his friends. And I think it kept us in touch with him and him with us, and helped us to be a part of each other's lives through tumultuous years, So that's a good thing. But I am downstairs in what we call the office. There's a desk over there against that wall. I have this desk pushed out where I can use it for stitching. Hey, Coco. And but I'm doing this mainly because of the air conditioner not working upstairs. I can't be at my desk. I can't be where I'm used to stitching. So I figured I'd go ahead and record it here, since this is where I stitched and spent the afternoon during the heat of the day. And now I'll go back up and brave the heat just to get the stuff I need. But I hope you have wonderful stitching ahead for the rest of your week. And I hope I get to record a little bit more before the end of the week. We shall see. But I'll take you along with me, you know that. And I hope we'll have a good trip. Happy stitching, everybody.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is the 30th of June. Today is it. And then we start Christmas in July for me, starting tomorrow. I'm very excited about that. I just got home yesterday, late evening, from a retreat that I had been to at Shepherd's Needle in Little Rock, Arkansas. If you ever get the chance to go by there, I hope you will. It is a fabulous, fabulous shop, and the people there are so helpful and so friendly. And thank you for a wonderful retreat and for all of your staff and how great they treated us all. I will tell you a lot about that in a minute, but what I want to get started with is more of what happened right before I left. So right before I left, I went to stitch with my friend Juliana on Wednesday, and I wanted to take something with me that I could stitch while I visited and talked, so I stitched on My Neighborhood Friends. And I've mentioned this previously, however, I'll remind you that you can get this now, and it'll just say Neighborhood Dog Show at the bottom, but it's the same pattern. And I was able to complete all of the little flowers and this whole end of the branch in the green leaves that weren't there before. And I started the first puppy dog because I didn't want to move my Q-snap while I was sitting there. Part of the reason for that is Juliana has a precious little puppy dog named Stella. And Stella likes to sit in my lap while I stitch. And so she sits right next to me in the chair and lays her head over on my leg. And we stitch all afternoon. And Stella will just sit right there. Every now and then she'll look up and tap me with her nose, wanting me to pet her. And then she goes right back to laying down. But Juliana also has a little dog named Toby. He is new to the family. He picked them. He showed up. He was a stray. He showed up at their house, got into their backyard, and wouldn't quit coming by. And Juliana kept trying to find his owners, and nobody was missing a dog, and he wasn't chipped, and she couldn't find anybody to claim him. And her mother fell in love with him. And so she told me she knew it was a done deal when her mother said, "I've named him Toby." So once she named him, that was it. The dog belonged there. So they have adopted Toby into their family. And Toby looks to me to be some sort of Chihuahua mix. And he is precious. And he's such a loving little puppy. But he felt like if Stella got to sit up there with me, then he should too. So he jumped up in my lap. He would steal kisses. He would put his little head right here. And then all of a sudden he'd reach up and kiss me on the cheek. He's precious. And Juliana thought it was funny because they were both in my lap at the same time for part of the day. And so she snapped a picture of it, and I'll insert that for you here. Aren't they precious? I just love those little puppies. Anyway, it was a great fun day. But I was happy to get my 392 stitches in. And I also thought it was fun that I was working on something that had puppy dogs on it while I was sitting there holding dogs and stitching, which was great fun. And I've got this in my project bag from Garon that is puppy dogs. And it has doggy bones on the inside. Isn't that precious? Love that one. So there you go. So that was Wednesday. Thursday morning, bright and early, I picked Donna up and we went to the retreat. And it was fabulous. If you've never taken a class from Kathy Haberman, I highly, highly recommend that you do. You will always get more than you bargain for. Always.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Donna and I are here to talk to you a little bit about the retreat that we went to at the Shepherd's Needle there in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I guess we should start out with what we worked on the first day that we got there. What do you think?
You mean the taxing item?
Yeah, the taxing item.
I am not a finisher, people. So this was very challenging for me because I'm definitely a squirrel.
You stayed very focused. You did very well, I think. So we were taught by Kathy Haberman a new skill. She said she wanted to teach us a skill because that way we can transfer it to something else. And when we started working on this, I looked at Dawn and I said, you know, I'm stitching all these Jeanette Douglas patterns that have the little sections.
And they come prepared for a tray that you display them in. But those trays are very expensive, wooden trays. So this new skill that we have, whether we ever do it again, we don't know, would allow us to make our own tray. So you want to show them
I'll show the back.
Okay, I'll show the front. So we started with the base. Well, you're going to show the back. There you go. We started with the base piece, and we taped the sides to it and folded them up. And then we just covered everything with fabric and glue, lots of glue. You can see there's an inside piece. Now, these are different widths of boards, and I don't remember what Kathy called all of them. We've got all of her notes, you know, in our instructions. But anyway, the bottom is thicker than the inside pieces, and then these little lining pieces are the thinnest piece of all. But there were 3 different thicknesses of
Yes.
boards that we used. And then she picked this fabric line. It was very, it was a coordinated fabric line.
It was from Riley Blake.
Riley Blake, that's right. And so we covered the boards. We padded these bottom pieces for each one and covered them up. Then, show what Kathy gave us.
Kathy gave us this.
It's a little needle book. She used 2 of the fabrics and then put felt in there for a needle book. And that was to lay in the large section of your tray to have your needle book with you. And then she gave us a wool ball that's a pin cushion and counting pins to complement the colors. And she told us to put that in our little section so that we had counting pins there right at our stitching spot. And then the open space here are for scissors. So you can put your scissors there. Then you can sit this pretty decorative box right next to your stitching spot, and you have your basic needs covered as to what you're going to be using. But the main thing is now we can make our own trays or boxes. Donna said probably never again. But at least we know how.
We know how.
And we have the instructions. So that's a good thing. And then the second day, we did a fully finishing class on our pre-stitching. And we started with 3 different colors of linen.
Yes.
We had a white color, an orange color, and a yellow color. And there was an exclusive pattern for each of the colors of linen. You stitched 1 on each color. So the first color on white was called Harvest Moon, and then the second band was orange, and it was a candy corn row, I think. And then the last one we did was a pumpkin row, and we stitched those 3 separate pieces and took them with us. So when we got there, we were taught how to sew these linens together by hand in case you don't have a sewing machine. So Kathy had us pull a thread to make a ditch above and below all of
The middle one.
The middle one. And that way, when you put your fabrics together, you just stitched, you went over every 2 threads. Every 2 threads, you made a stitch. And that attached your fabrics together. So, then we did some decorative stitches to help strengthen and decorate the piece. We did sew the pillow. We did make it into a pillow. We did sew it together on a sewing machine. And we'll tell you about the finishing closing technique in a minute. But you want to show them what we made?
Yes, I got mine done.
She did. So the pattern is called Eye Candy. And I'm sure she'll release it at some point in time. But she gave it, you know, to us at the retreat for our pre-stitching. So here's your Harvest Moon. This is your candy corn row. Those are little candy corns. And this is your pumpkin row. And so once we stitched it together, this was stitched all the way around, right sides together. And then to flip it and turn it, there was no opening. So we cut a little slit on the back of the cotton here. Be careful not to cut your cross stitch. And we turned it, flipped it through that hole, and we stuffed it. And then
And we used wool stuffing.
we used wool stuffing. I had never used that before, and it was very nice, very soft and pleasant to deal with. Then you do what did she call the stitch that we closed it up with? Do you remember?
I have no clue. I probably did mine wrong. So.
I don't remember what she called it.
You can't see it, so.
But anyway, we closed it up. And then she taught us to put a patch on the back. Now, when Donna and I hold them up, you can't see them. You can't see the patch. It blends right in because it's out of the same fabric. We could take it close enough. You might be able to find it if I showed it to you, maybe right here. But anyway.
She had a zigzag fabric.
Yes. We
That
cut them with
piece.
pinking shears so
Pinking
they
shears.
blended in better. Anyway, what you do is you take double-sided
Tape.
which is a interfacing type closure. But be sure you read the directions.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. Dawn and I both did it wrong 2 different ways. So,
Oops.
I was first, and when I got up there to do mine, I didn't think about pulling either of the backing off. I thought that one of the sides that was showing was already pre-treated, and that's what you put on your fabric, and you ironed it on so that the heat would make it adhere. But I hadn't taken the plastic off or the paper off, so it adhered to itself. It just fused to itself, so I had to get a new piece. So you put that first side, you take off the backing, you put that side on your fabric patch that you're making. And then when you have your patch ready, you peel off the other side, which is clearly marked as paper. You can tell that's paper. You put that on your fabric and you iron it down, and it just sticks. It's lovely. So I tell Donna, be sure you take the backing fabric off the first side. Well, she did that.
But I stuck mine to the project, and then my little piece of fabric was like flying in the air. But let's just tell the truth about the iron.
Okay. This iron was different than one I'd ever used before because we were told to put it on the silk setting, which we did, but on the irons that I've had, there's either a very clear, when you turn the dial, it turns it on, or you have a button on the handle to turn it on. This one, it had a little light that would light up when it was on. The problem is that was the off and on switch. Also, you had to press the light on the side of the iron to turn it on. And so I didn't know that. So I'm over there ironing away, trying to melt this glue on this batch. And the iron's not even on. It's just, I thought, boy, that silk setting is very, very mild. I can touch this iron. It was funny. So we had a very interesting day. You did the same thing. We laughed a lot. We laughed a lot and had a great time. And we have 2 cute decorative items now that we can. One is very functional and the other one's very decorative. And we had a great time doing that.
And I will keep it away from Harley.
Yes, because Harley would love to take all that wool out of there.
Yes.
Wouldn't he? So Anne, who owns Shepherd's Needle, puts on a great retreat. And this is a small room. We had 25 people there, and it filled the room. So they're small, intimate classes. You get lots of attention from your instructor. It's wonderful. You can ask questions easily. But Anne went above and beyond. She had great meals for us, catered in for lunch, so we wouldn't have to worry about leaving and coming back or having stragglers delay the class or anything like that. It was very convenient. And the second day, when we got to working with our fabrics and stuff, we came into the room and she had us a gift on the table. And Donna's got that to share with you.
So I'm afraid I'm going to hit the thing. We got a stitching mat. Oh, I didn't bring everything. There's the stitching mat. It's green on the back side. Lovely flat fabric. And then we have the little Ort box that someone in one of the 2 classes made us to go with it. She had it commissioned out, and that person made these. And then we got
This little thing right here.
this another little Ort box, which it snaps to the mat. And there was a needle minder
That's pinned in.
and a pen. And when I first looked at this pen, I thought it was a Halloween pumpkin face. And I
It's a
kept
little
looking,
button.
it's a button. But yeah, so that was on our
And
mat.
our little needle threader. And she had us a zipper pull that her daughter made. And that zipper pull was actually a cursive writing of our name. So she went by everybody's place and put their name on their stitching mat, right where we had sat the first day. So she was very, very attentive to where everybody was sitting, because she knew right where everybody's name needed to go. If you've ever been to a retreat, you know that a lot of times your table mates will give you lovely gifts. And so one of our table mates stitched a gift bag for Donna and I. They look the same because we both have D on them. And she put inside the first of our accessories that you could put in your bag, and that was our pin cushion, the old fashioned with the strawberry on it, just like my mom had. That was cute, I like that. And then we had another table mate. Donna can show you what she got for us.
She loves flamingos, and she got us a flamingo tape.
So you pull on the feet.
Oh, the feet. I was trying to pull on its tail.
And then you press the wings.
And it goes right back in.
Isn't that cute? I actually used it while we were finishing, when we had to measure something, so that worked out really well. And then another one of our table mates had gone through and got us each this, I'll take the thread off so you can see it. It's an easel for displaying your finishes, and then she had taped a specialty floss to each one. And they were different colors and different brands, and you just looked through her gift bag and picked the one you wanted. So she let you get the color that you liked, which was really, really nice. And then
Of course, it's a spam call.
That's the way life is going right now. We had agreed we weren't going to do roommate gifts, but Donna did them anyway.
Well, I gave my other table mates things. I couldn't just leave Dina out of that.
So she gave me a bird-themed bag of gifts. And so here is a needle threader, and it has a cutter in it. So I can't wait to try that out and see how I like this little blue bird. And then I got a Zappy Dots needle minder that has a little blue bird on it. And continuing that theme, I have a needle holder, tube storage holder. It has a blue bird on it, and Donna even put me a spare needle inside in case I needed it. And a pair of scissors, because you can never have too many scissors.
It'll fit right there in our box.
And it'll fit in our box. So that's awesome. So thank you, Donna.
You're very welcome.
We had a great time. So we had a good time there. Lots of fun at the retreat. We got to go out to dinner with our couple of your friends, Tracy and Judy. And then one evening, Kathy and Bill joined us, which was great fun. They came out with Tracy, Judy, and Donna and I. And then our last night we were there, we got to go to dinner with my friend Mary and her husband Reed. So we had a good time with fellowship. It was a good event. I will tell you too, if you ever need a good driver, Donna's a very good driver, because this trip was a little hair-raising. We traveled 10 hours to get there.
Right.
And right before we got there, some very aggressive driver came onto the interstate to our right from an entrance ramp, crossed 3 lanes of traffic, and then ran us off the road. So Donna was driving my car for the first time, so it wasn't even her vehicle, which I find amazing, because you're not as familiar with where everything is and how it responds. And but thank you for keeping us from hitting the barrier or the car. People behind us were slamming on brakes. They just knew we were going to ping pong all over that road, but we didn't.
Because there was a concrete barrier
there,
right there in the center,
and we didn't have room to go very far. But Donna kept us away from the collision and on either side. And then on the way home, we were fairly close to picking up Harley, about an hour away from picking up Harley. And we were going through a small town, and I guess they don't have a lot of traffic. And so this lady just backed out of her driveway without looking. Fortunately, Donna saw her coming. I mean, we could see her from a little bit of a ways down her driveway, and we could tell she wasn't looking. And so Donna slowed down and stopped, and the lady just pulled right into the street.
She didn't see us until she was in the street.
The street. And then, you know, that was that, oh my God, look. So anyway, but we did get home safe and sound. Thank you, Lord. And we got Harley as well. So that was very good. We got pictures of Harley while we were there, and it appears that Harley has fallen in love.
Yes.
One of the dogs that was staying there stays a lot there, about once a week, because Coco's played with Muddy quite often. And Muddy is a Labradoodle who looks just like Coco. And she's just a little bit darker and a little tiny bit smaller. And Harley fell in love with her. So apparently they had a great time. So that's good, because then Donna didn't have to worry. You know, Harley was well taken care of and happy, and that's such a relief when you're not worried about your pet. You know, you have a good time. So it is now July 1st. We are starting Christmas in July stitching.
She is starting Christmas in July.
And we're going to take a break here and go grab a bite for lunch. And then later on today, I'll come back and share with you my first day. Donna thinks I'm going to finish it.
I know she will finich it.
We'll see. I hope to, but I'll share that with you later today, hopefully. But we just wanted to come by and show you what a cute pillow we made, and how creative Kathy's classes are. And I encourage you to take one if you ever can. You will not be disappointed. I promise you that. Anything else you want to share? Oh, we stopped
At Buc-ee's
for lunch, and Donna got a souvenir shirt. So when she showed up today to film, I saw the shirt and I just died laughing. I said, how appropriate. That's perfect. So we had a great time.
Two times.
Yes, on the way there and on the way back. So we had Buc-ee's for lunch, going out and coming home. It was great. Worked out well.
And we learned their chips are really good.
Yes. They're their own potato chips, and those are very good if you haven't tried them.
There's no salt on them, so you don't have to worry about gaining water weight.
Yeah, they were very tasty, but they weren't salty. And that was nice. It was funny. I brought half of mine home the day we came home. We each got a box. The first day we shared a box, and on the way home we each got a box, so we'd have leftovers to bring home of the potato chips. And I got home, and my husband's like, "What's that?" And I said, well, they're Buc-ee's chips. And he goes, really? Are they any good? I said, yeah, they're pretty good. So he took a bite of, one of them. And we were headed out to eat. And we were just going to go grab a quick sandwich. And I look up, and he's carrying the chips with him, the little box of Buc-ee's chips. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to take these in the restaurant with me and eat them with my sandwich. I said, I'm not carrying those in another restaurant. He said, oh, I will. Well, they didn't make it to the restaurant. He ate them. The way to the restaurant. So that'll tell you they're good. Give them a try if you ever get to go. All right, we'll talk to you soon, and we're gonna go have a bite to eat.
And then I have to go back to work.
And then Donna has to go back to work. That's why we're hurrying. Donna's on our lunch break.
It's a work from home day.
Yeah. So I said she still has to kind of watch the clock a little bit. So we won't stay and visit too long today. Happy stitching, everybody. So I do want to share with you what I stitched on. The very first night, I pulled out my Kathy Haberman piece in honor of Kathy being there with us. And this is called Love My Stitching. And it is the one she designed to go on the front of a cross-stitch bag. And I'm doing it similar. I just changed out my colors ever so slightly to what I had in stash, because I didn't have the called for. So I am doing mine in blues and reds and the gray, but the blue is a different shade.
of blue. It's not that pretty teal blue, but it's the prettiest light blue I think I had. But I worked on this line right here. So I got that done that one evening of stitching that we did together. And we weren't there that long. The air conditioner was blowing right on top of us, and I got kind of cold. And so Donna and I went on back up to the room and got ready for the class the next day. And then the second night, this is the second night. Almost got out of order there. The second night, I brought out my Teresa Kogut. And this is one that she designed for charity. And I have just changed it ever so slightly. I've mentioned that before, but this is Hope and Love. And I had been working on it, and I had part of the first word done. I had the hope done minus the E, and then came back and did more of the words. Finished hope, finished never, and finished ends. So hope never ends. There's another line that goes below it, and that line says love never fails, I believe. Hope never ends and love never fails, I believe. That's how it goes. I'm trying to find the cover photo. Yes, love never fails. So that'll go over here. Love will go here, and then never fails will be right there. And there's a beautiful border, as you can tell from the picture. There's a border of these flowers all around. And I am going to do just a couple of them. I'm gonna do like this side. I'm not doing all of this. I'm leaving that part off. I've rearranged a couple of motifs to make it more square because I just wanted a little bit smaller footprint on this one. So there you go. Hope never fails, never ends. Hope never ends. So there we go. A little more progress on that one. That was the second evening. And then the third night that we got to stitch, I pulled out my spring bag and I wanted to get a finish on it, and I did. I'm so excited about it. So let's talk about this spring bag for a minute. This is on one of those It's So Emma bags, and mine says spring, and I even put the buttons on it. I put some of them on it. So you can see there, I've got the ladybug on it. I've got the two little bee buttons. I've got the flower here and the bunny rabbit at the bottom. There were two more buttons, but they were as large as this one or larger. And I just felt like they were a little big for how I stitched it. Now, usually when you stitch these bags, you stitch over two. So I did mine like it was 8 of fabric over 1 because I wanted it smaller. I wanted it small. I didn't want to use up all my floss. And so I tried it that way. I think it's precious. I think it's lovely. But I think I've got another bag to do. And now that I've seen the buttons on it, I think the next one I am going to do bigger, where you do it over 2. So it'll be it would be like twice as big for the next one that I do. But I'm going to keep the 2 little bird buttons that I have, and I will just use them for another project. And that'll be awesome. Oh, I also wanted to say too that another thing that Anne did for us is at our chairs, once we picked our place to sit the next day when we had our stitchers mats down, she had our individual names made, and this is made by Pink Lemonade Creations. They're on Facebook and Instagram. But this is Ann's daughter, and she commissioned her to make these for us. So each of us had our own name. I never find my name on anything. So to get something with my name on it is always special. And I was tickled to death to have it. So, got that. But this means I have a finish. So here's my spring bag, and I will make it a cross-stitch project bag. That's what I'm gonna do with it. And that's awesome. Now, I have not counted up my stitches on these 3 projects. I didn't take the time to count the stitches, so I have to go back and do that. I'll do that now when I finish recording. But that's what I've been up to in the last 2 to 3 days, so that should catch you up. In the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everybody. It's July 1st, and today I will be beginning my Christmas in July stitching. However, I needed to come in right here and wrap up June because I had one final project that I stitched on June 30th, which was while I was Zooming last night, and I got quite a bit done, so I hate not to share it with you. And then I'm going to end this video and start my next little taping for what I'm stitching for Christmas in July. So you'll see me in the same outfit 2 videos in a row, but that's why. I didn't film it last night. I was ready to go to bed. But last night during my Zoom call and during the day, I was stitching on Spring Quaker. It was one of my attempts to touch a whip that I'm not going to get to touch probably in the month of July because it's not a Christmas whip. But I had just finished this big motif here, and then I had stitched this small one here. So what I did actually was this motif, these 2 words, and this motif. So I have finished all the way across this row through here. Now some of this dips below, and but I finished that motif, and so that's where I've stopped there, and I've come across here, but I went ahead and finished that one. So it dips down a bit, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I've come across here, and I went ahead and finished a little motif if I started it, even if it dipped down pretty low. And now I'm ready to roll this up the next time I work on it, and I'll roll it up just a little bit, probably to about right here, and then I'll do another path across, at least to the bottom of this, so that I can roll it up next time again. But I'm enjoying it. And you may not see this in the month of July. I don't know. But I wanted to share it with you. I actually completed 613 stitches in that yesterday, which was a wonderful accomplishment. And a lot of that I did while they were replacing my air conditioner up here. And then while I was on my Zoom call last night, which was great. So today, I start July stitching, and I will end this video now and worry about that on the next one. But I do hope that if you've got plans for Christmas in July, that you'll let me know what they are. Thank you for watching and for commenting. It's always such a pleasure to have conversations with you. And in the meantime, until we see each other again, happy stitching. Hey, what you looking for? Huh? What you looking for? A scratch on the head? You gonna scratch on the head? Hey, Coco. This is Coco. It is very hot. Sunday afternoon. Coco's had a nap. And then I had to do some belly scratches. And then I came up here to stitch, and Coco came with me to look to make sure I didn't have any snacks hidden up here.
and we didn't. So now I'm gonna stitch in. Coco is gonna probably rest up here with me under the fan, or she'll go down, wait for her daddy. He's gone to put gas in the car and get a brush so he can wash the vehicles today. I guess it's hot enough he's ready to get out and get wet. Anyway, I hope you're having a great Sunday. Coco and I are just hanging out together.